Maria's mother's prayers came to fruition, and she joined the Legion of Mary. She turned the back. There's Maria there, everyone. Hiya. Maria turned the back in the world and joined the Legion of Mary. For Maria, membership of the Legion, which she joined 10 years ago, has given her great joy, peace and happiness. And Maria is going to talk to us about her conversion and perhaps eventually answer the question posed in the well-known song, how do you solve a problem like Maria? Thanks, Maria.
Hi, girls. I'm just putting my timer on here. I want to be
perfect. You're all right. You're all right.
Training.
We scream at you if you go over time. Don't worry.
I promise. My name is Maria, for anyone who doesn't know me, and it's just really to share my testimony, particularly for legionaries or people of the faith who are struggling maybe with loved ones or members who have fallen away from the faith or rejected it. And I suppose just to share a little bit of my journey. I was certainly raised in the faith. I was brought up, we said the rosary and the sacraments and devotions. And I suppose in my late teens, early 20s, I told my mother I wasn't going to Mass any longer and I wasn't going to say the rosary. And I was living at home at the time and I was told I was going to Mass. I grew up in Portmarnock beside the beach, and I wouldn't even go into the church. I would drive down to Portmarnock Church and I would drive around to the back of the church where at the time there was a kind of a glass see-through panel. So I could see the priest on the altar, and I could tell Angela at home, who would grill me, who the priest was. I had become very hostile. I can remember a time going into the sitting room at home and physically putting my fingers in my ears not to have to listen to Mother Angelica. It was torture to me. And I moved into Blanchardstown into an apartment in 2003. And I embraced the whole culture, the secular culture of pleasure, of vanity, myself. And I thought I had a great lifestyle. I thought I have the secure job, the car, social life. And I remember my mother telling me, Maria, your life is empty. My life is full. And I thought I was having a great time. And she was dogged in her perseverance and in her prayers. During my school days, she would argue with my religion teachers about why wasn't her daughter being taught the faith. But I wasn't mixing in circles. So my friends and the circles I was mixing in, nobody practiced the faith. So I'm convinced it was my mother's prayers and perseverance that changed my mindset completely to then, to where I am now. This was the kind of book I was reading, Germaine Greer, The Whole Woman. I very much embraced the whole feminist culture. And it was 2010, which is funny, 10 years ago, I watched a program on BBC Northern Ireland, and it was about Our Lady and a place of pilgrimage. And I ended up out there with my mother and my aunt. And I had moved out to Blanchardstown in 2003, and to my shame, I hadn't set foot in the church for the first 7 years that I was there. And when I went on pilgrimage with my mother, I developed, or I got a great love for Mass. I came back to Blanchardstown and I started going to Mass. I told nobody, and I was more open then, and my mother suggested that I join, or I come attend a Legion of Mary conference. So I went along, and it was funny the way I had embraced the whole feminist culture, because I was most struck by young men talking about chastity, giving their testimony of their love for Our Lady. And I had never heard anything like this before. My mother had tried to battle for years, but you know, as I say, my friends, the culture, the circles I was moving in, it was steeped in the whole secular culture. And within a year, I had joined the Legion of Mary. But as I say, I'm convinced it was the prayers and sacrifices, because back when I was 18 or 19, I think my mother had mentioned, or a legionary, Mary Dunleavy, had mentioned the Regina Caeli, and I was having none of it. So it was definitely the prayers that I was more open. And that really changed everything then. I joined the Legion of Mary, and then was introduced to the beautiful spirituality of the Legion, the solid spirituality and doctrine of the mystical body of Christ, for example, and that I was learning that it wasn't just ethical codes or a sacramental system, but that it was centered on a person, Christ, and that he was to be seen and served in every human person. And that someone like me, Maria, who spent most weekends nursing a hangover, could learn these deep truths. The true devotion to Our Lady, that as Christ had elected to depend on her, that I would do the same. And the Presidium meeting, the rosary, that unifies the members, calms them, and in that atmosphere, that's, you know, whether you're tongue-tied or shy, that in that atmosphere, which is so encouraging, you can really thrive. And then I got involved in Peregrinatio Pro Christo, and to be out evangelizing. And I suppose, the Legion that didn't get involved in politics, but humbly in the background was getting out, giving out the miraculous medals. And then also the Regina Caeli, which is 90 years this year, this October, working with, or praying with the most dejected and rejected members of society, homeless ladies. And that's really it. So, I would encourage people to think of someone like me. And where would I be spiritually now if it wasn't for Catholics that had the ability and the courage to talk about their faith? I think of my two mothers, my Regina Patches and my own mother, who, as I say, was dogged. And she faced, many years of suffering and being mocked. And it was a battle. And I'm sure there was many times when I was living in a culture that was quite reckless and, with alcohol and going out and partying, that, there was some nights she probably didn't sleep with worry. But, miracles do happen. And if you were to give me €1 million now, and €1 million is a lot of money, to go back even 10, 15 years to that lifestyle that I thought I had it all, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm protected physically, mentally, spiritually. My friends in the faith, I know where I'm going. I know where I came from. And, when I look at this book, the whole woman, Germaine Greer, this is the woman now who I follow, Our Lady. And, to be involved in the apostolate and conquering the world for Christ, the Blessed Virgin Mary, it was unthinkable for someone like me 15 years ago. But we've a merciful Lord, and thank God for the Legion and for my mother's prayers. And Sinead well.
To beat the Irish mother, indeed any mother, our mother's prayers. They're very, very powerful. Maria, can I ask you, you do an awful lot of evangelizing, and obviously not in the last few months, we've all been a little bit tied in that respect, but when you were doing it on PPC and Street Contact and all the different ways that you evangelized, how would you approach women, that young girls, young women that you found, that you kind of identified, or you saw in them the type of life that they were leading, the type of lifestyle that you were leading? How would you approach them, or did you ever come across those? What would you say to them to try and encourage them back to their faith?
Gosh, I've been with Brona and PPC. One thing about PPC is that, I remember being outdoors and there'd be hostile men, but you might introduce the miraculous medal and they would break down in tears. And Emer Gallagher can testify to this, that sometimes it can change your whole life. And I remember being brought into houses and they would pour out their heart to you. And I remember a lady, she was from Dublin, and she spoke to me about the most intimate things of her life. And I suppose the Legion system, the master and apprentice, but I suppose my own, like some of us in the Legion, some young girls that had embraced that whole secular lifestyle, but I paid the price. Following that lifestyle, the whole culture, the contraceptive culture, the alcohol, physically, I paid a price, and spiritually in that. And I suppose just try and maybe share my own testimony and journey, and because they're all searching for love and that sense of community that I have with the Legion. I've never been at such peace and happier than I am now. I suppose just try and share your own story, or just sometimes the Legion would be very much for listening, and one soul at a time, and just gently, with love. And, the Legion of Mary, it's so lovely, like the whole that you would go as inferior to superior, maybe just listen. And sometimes, yeah, I'd share my own journey. As you say, they can be powerful, you know. Why am I knocking at doors, or why am I going out with miraculous medals? And then to be around all my Legion friends, all the people that are in the faith, that's huge as well, because my mother battled for years. You know, I was all my friends and that whole lifestyle, but definitely that I would encourage people just the power of prayer and perseverance and that, and community. But it's too isolating on your own. I wouldn't have survived. When I came back and I started going to mass, it's very isolating, you know. Now I have friends and the older legionaries I could learn so much from, and other people from different organizations. You know, it's great. Yeah.
Maria, you might just explain PPC for people who aren't in the Legion. They wouldn't understand it, so you might just say a word about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a few notes, but I think it's called Peregrinatio Pro Christo, and it was regionally, I think it was UCD students. It was started, actually I have it here, in 1950, and it was under the title of the Holiday Apostolate, and it was a dynamic group of young legionaries in UCD, and they were going over what is Peregrinatio, and it's now operated by councils throughout the world, where you basically go to another country for the week and you get involved in apostolic work. You support the local priest there, and it's just going around and calling on doors, but you're with other people, legionaries from other parts of maybe the UK where I've been before, and it's been so exciting. Like, I was parts of London and Scotland, you know, we were in parts where there was big Union Jacks and this guy coming out with a bulldog, and you know, we're terrified going up and into flats. It can be such an adventure. But with some of the people that would come back to their faith after years of being away, you know, and it's wonderful.
Thanks very much, Maria.
Wonderful, Maria. Thanks very much. It was a great testimony. And in case you don't know, although I presume certainly many of the Irish legionaries here that have joined in will know that Maria's mother is Angela Keaveney, who's a great warrior as well, a great legionary warrior, and a great prayer, obviously. So there's some power behind her prayer. Maria, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.